Our task was to fly into that tunnel below the flight of field gun shells, look for any target we could see, any Germans in trenches, any machine gun posts, anything at all, shoot it up, fly through the tunnel, and come out the other end. We were warned that we must not try to fly out sideways. If we did, we would almost certainly meet our own shells in flight and be brought down by them. That would apply whether we turned right or left. Once we entered the tunnel, there was nothing for it but to carry on and go through to the very end. We flew in pairs, and I led, being flight commander. I and my companion flew to the south of the tunnel, turned left, entered it, and instantly we were in an inferno. The air was boiling with the turmoil of the shells flying through it. We were thrown about in the aircraft, rocking from side to side, being thrown up and down. Below us was mud, filth, smashed trenches, broken wire, broken machine gun posts, broken limbers, rubbish, wreckage of airplanes, bits of men. And then, in the midst of it all, when we were flying at 400 feet, I spotted a German machine gun post and went down. My companion came behind me, and as we dived, we fired 4 machine guns straight into the post. We saw the Germans throw themselves on the ground. We dived at them, sprayed them. Whether we hit them, we didn't know.
Well, you see, when I got to France, I only had 20 hours flying about. And when I was posted down to a 2C squadron on the Somme, the CO took one look at the logbook and said, "My God, this murder, you know, sending you chaps out with nothing on the logbook. You better put in a bit of time." So they gave me an aircraft, and I walloped off, you know, to have a look around and see what the form was. And to have a look at the lines, to get used to the French maps, all the things that are different, you know, and the country was obviously a different country from the country of England that I'd been flying over a bit. And so it was that I really first had a look at the lines. You know, one had always heard behind the lines, this side of the lines, the lines, the lines, the lines, but I hadn't a clue as to what the thing looked like. And so one good, fine May afternoon, I got up to about 10,000 feet, well on this side, you know, to have a deco. The thing was quite fascinating because you realize that, I mean, what had happened was the battle had become crystallized and had to stop somewhere, and it had, as it were, stopped in this particular point, and somebody had started to build a trench. And from that trench people had begun to dig back communication trenches so they could get to it without being shot as they got into the trench, so to speak. And this whole system had been built up over months and months and months until really from the air it looked like, it really looked like more like, you know, one of those edges to a lace doily. You know, it's got a sort of fairly hard edge, and then there are all these little fillets running back in. When you put 2 of those together, side by side, not, of course, regularly, but moving as the contours of the ground, and that was really the effect. And, of course, the new digging in the earth showed up light, so that when you went over after experience and you knew what the digging in your particular sector was like, if there was any new digging, you could always see it because the earth was fresh and rather yellow. And all this went wheendling away right down from Thiepval up in the north, right round the Somme Fricourt salient, right round to the marshes of the Somme where our section ended. And it was just really like 2 pieces of lace put together in that way. And after I'd had a look at that, and, you know, I'd put in a bit more time and got my logbook up to, I think, something like 30 hours or something ridiculous like that, the flight commander said, "We better have a go this afternoon. We want some photographs of the front line trenches, so you take Sergeant so-and-so," I can't remember what the dear chap's name was, "and go and have a bang." So we got on board the 2C, and the 2C was totally unsuited to the job, of course. You know, it had the observer in front and the pilot behind, whereas within its sense it should have been the pilot in front and the observer behind, but it wasn't. So the observer sat in a sort of, he had 4 struts very close each side of him, and wires to brace him well in and in front, none behind, and a little seat which he could just get into. And he really could do nothing at all except keep a lookout, you see, and when it got at all hot and you were liable to be attacked from the tail, not from anywhere else, he simply had to get up in his seat and kneel on the seat, you see, which was a jolly cold, draughty business at 8,000 feet, you know, even in the summer.
All of these airplanes flying, including the original and the reproductions of the vintage aviation collection. And it's also it's on the 22nd of February down at Aerodrome in Masterton. And what the show I hope you enjoyed the performance of the Camel and the campaign today. This is someone to land with you. Can't not look at Gene DeMarco's size within this aeroplane. If you've ever been in an aeroplane with Gene DeMarco in a size fit, that's quite frightening. And it's a really amazing Thank you.